Good afternoon, Zambia. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nikki Kabaso. I'm back today. I've been off for so long, but I just felt I should just share something. I'll be very quick today, very brief. I was listening to the meetings that were held, and I think addressed by the former Republican president, President Edgar Lungu. There's a couple of things that he said that I just wanted to share my thoughts. Let us learn to agree and disagree, no using insults, no using bad language. I think we are all Zambians and we should be entitled to give our own views. It is sad that sometimes I tend to think that, let's say, for example, if I say something and those that support another group do not agree with it, they start to use insults. Let's reason together. If what I say you think is not true, challenge me. Let's sit on the table, challenge me. Now, I think it's unfortunate to see the desperation that is showing up in our former head of state. I don't think the former head of state is wanting to come back into politics or active politics or to rule Zambia again because he has a program on agenda. I think he wants to protect a certain group of people. He wants to protect his own interest. I'm not saying, but according to what we know now, there's a lot of rooting that was going on from the family, the first family. So those are, I'm not accusing them, but those are things that are in the public domain. And I think there is that side of life where they do want to come back so they can protect whatever is going on so that they can continue to do whatever they did before. And it's sad. Yesterday I saw when he was addressing I don't know if it's yesterday, when he was addressing some of the things he said is let's unite so that we can remove this dictator. He called President Hakainde Hichilema a dictator. I do not agree with that. Because if you look at the current leadership and the previous leadership, the two, I know a lot of people were deceived by thinking that our former head of state was very humble because he always moved with his hands together, always, I clearly state, always hiding in the name of prayer, but the things they did was not right. For example, he said that let's unite so we can remove the dictator. I agree with him to some extent. I agree with him that we should unite and ensure those that stole from Zambia should not return back into power. If President Lungu had a green and clear intention for Zambia, believe me you or not, when he got out of power, he could have groomed somebody. He could have maybe partnered with or mentored anyone, Calabar, Fred Membe, any of those things, KBF, and just partnered. We showed them to say, this is what I want you. But because his intended purpose is to protect his interest, that's why he wants to return back at all cost. Now, there is this singing, there is this notion they are pushing that no President Lungu, no ballot, no President Lungu, no vote. I think it's funny because we remember that when President Chiluba, may his soul rest in peace, tried to push for the third term, we know what the outcome was. If truly it's all about Zambia, why couldn't he join hands with somebody? Why couldn't he say, okay, let someone else rule? If he thinks what President Hakainde Hichilema, how come to that, is doing is not right, why couldn't he take his ideas and impart them into somebody and push somebody to rule? Why is it only him that thinks he's the right person to rule? Now, let us not be misled. I still believe President Hakainde Hichilema is the right man for this time. I still believe he has a vision for the country. Where the problem comes in is that whatever policies or whatever agenda UPND is pushing, which is positive for the country, it's not a one-day thing. Rome was not built in a day. And unfortunately, to most people, we want quick things. We want quick things. Remember, President Lungu is calling President Hakainde Hichilema a bully. Do we remember that can you imagine the way they met at the secretariat the other day? We had police officers outside protecting, ensuring that there's law and order, which was right. Can you imagine if President Hakainde Hichilema, if President Lungu was president, and President Hakainde Hichilema goes to address a meeting, someone would die there. Someone would have died yesterday or 2 days ago. Somebody would have died. Can you imagine what would have happened with the cadres and stuff? So let's look at the positive of where we have come from and where we are going. I know the country is going through a lot of things. I know there's a lot of challenges that we are facing as a country. But that does not mean that the leadership of the UPND do not have a vision. President Lungu spoke about that we needed about electricity. But can I say this? Do you know that if truly we put all the money that these people stole together, probably if we put, I'm not talking about anybody else, if we just took what they have grabbed from, is Tasila? Whatever they have grabbed from the the former first lady, if we grabbed whatever from Daliso and them, do you know you can power Lusaka? Do you know you can power Lusaka? You know, the problem is this, that we are looking at the problem that we are facing as a country today. We are not looking at where we are coming from. We are forgetting that these are people that went and borrowed money, inflated prices for the construction of roads, inflated prices for all sorts of things so that they could steal. Do you know if the same money they borrowed was given to the UPND today, they would do the same things, but there will be accountability, which was not in the PF, if we can remember. Unfortunately, it was sad the other day to hear our former head of state calling the President Hakainde Hichilema a lacuna. It's sad. That's why I say, I strongly believe and I stand on this, that you will notice that with PF, if you take out name calling, PF collapses. If you take out violence, if you take out pangas, if you take out name calling, PF collapses. PF collapses. Now, you remember yesterday, is 2 days ago, I'm forgetting whether it's yesterday or 2 days ago. You remember that the president said, President Lungu said something. He invited everybody for prayer. You know, God is not a man that he can be mocked. You see, there is this notion that they want to build and push into the Zambians, knowing that Zambians we believe in God, we are Bible-believing people, we are people of faith. They want to take advantage of that and push a narrative that President Hakainde Hichilema is, sorry to say, a case. That's why Zambia is facing a drought. That's why Zambia is facing this, which is not true. It's a very wrong way of interpreting scriptures. It's a very wrong way of interpreting things. There was a flood. I happened to be in Dubai last year when there was, is it this year? When there was a very, very, very bad flood. Very bad flood. All Dubai was flooded. We couldn't come out. Would you call that? Would you say that happened because the leaders is cursed? Natural disasters happened. Remember in 1994, is it 94 or 93? We had the Gabon air disaster. President Chiluba was president then. We had the Gabon air disaster. You can't call that it has happened because the president is case or because of this or because of that. No. Now, he was saying that because President Hichilema called the day of prayer a useless day of prayer. Let me say this. With all respect, with all due respect, President Lungu, he was much into prayer. But if his prayers were genuine, they couldn't have stolen as much as they were stealing. Because prayers also, when we pray, we know God says he detests thieves. If they were so much if they were truly into prayer, they could have known that you don't harass people, you don't shoot people just because they are your opponents, you don't kill people just because of that. You know, there are people that sing so much about God, stand on the mountain to be seen as if they are more prayerful than the others, but what they do is more evil than those that don't say they pray. Okay, look at this. He was inviting everybody to go for a day of prayer, 18th of October, a day of prayer, I want you to hear this. I believe in God. I'm a minister of the gospel. I believe in God. But one thing, there is no economy that changes by prayer. No economy that changes by prayer. Economy changes by hard work, proper planning. Why am I saying that? Nigeria prays more than any other country. There is a lot of prayer going on in Nigeria. They pray day in, day out. But if you look at the United Kingdom, if you look at Dubai, it's not prayer that makes things move. Prayer is very important, but it's action that makes things move. You can't gather, pray, and then later on steal. Gather, pray, then get loans and steal and do other things. It doesn't work that way. In fact, when we gather on the 18th of October this year, President Lungu and the group, can they put some prayer requests? I would love them to put some prayer requests. One of the prayer requests I would love them to put on the prayer table that day is that they should pray that those that stole from the country, they should repay back, so we can give the poor Zambians what they need. Those that stole from Zambia, they should repay back, because prayer is also about restitution. So when they gather to pray, those that gather to pray, they must also encourage that those that stole, they must read that prayer point. So let's pray for those that stole from the country so that they can pay back the country. We can have what we need as a country. You see, they know that Zambians are Bible-believing people, are people of faith. They want to use politics. They want to use the gatherings to incite people to believe in different things. Let me show you this. Do you remember the last time they met? They met in church where I think it's Reverend Danny Pule was leading about Uka. They prayed. God can never be mocked. Where is Uka? It's dead. They were praying. Well, you can't make a gathering based on hatred for a person and you say you're going to succeed. It doesn't work that way. You can't make the gathering of most of our leaders that come together to form alliances is mostly based on hatred. That's why they cannot tell you what is the plan. And you know the problem is when you use hatred to gather, it breaks, it disintegrates. They gathered and prayed in, Dunamis. They spoke how they were snakes, how they were sliced. They planned to do this. You know, what has happened? Ukas died. Now today, you see desperation. Today, President Lungu was saying he's going to talk to President KBF, he's going to talk to President Freddie Membe. Come out in the open. Just say what we want to do is not so much about moving the country forward. What we want, our goal, is just the hatred for this man. The hatred for this man. So we want to do everything possible to bring him down. Now let's look at the things that Zambia is facing today. I know we are facing a lot of things as a country. And some people always say when I post, oh, you don't know what we are going through. You don't know what. Beloved, no government will come into power to change anybody's life. If we lie to ourselves that government come into power to change our lives, we deceive. Not even in the UK, not in the US. What the governments do, they implement policies and then we use those policies, we move forward with it. I personally believe that we have the right president in power, and I personally believe that given time, President Hakainde Hichilema will prove that whatever agenda he has for Zambia will flourish. Okay, we may be looking for quick, lasting solution. For example, the issue of electricity. Somebody said to me that when President Hakainde Hichilema was in opposition, he said that load shedding is because of bad leadership. I still agree with that. And am I saying it's because of bad leadership today? If we remained where we are and still having the same problem of load shedding, maybe 4 years from now, I would say, yeah, this is bad leadership. But look at what he did. Immediately they noticed that there was this issue. He went into China, discussed with the Chinese how we can help and bring this, all these things, all these meetings he is having. They will not just come into place within 24 hours. We need a bit of time. And those that are condemning the president today, they know that given time, whatever he's doing will show results. And they don't want that. They don't want that. Why did he say it is because of bad leadership? Bad leadership because instead of taking money, investing it in power, solar, people were taking money, giving their children 60 cars. People were taking money, giving the wives 15, 20 flats. People are giving their daughter. People are taking money, giving girlfriends, giving their nieces. Would you call that good leadership? And if you put all that money together, do you think we'll be where we are today crying because of load shedding? I'm telling you, the challenges we face today, with focus, with planning, we would come out and we'll come out better than we have gone in. Now, I think I would encourage our former head of state. I would say this is our father. I would never use any demeaning language towards our former head of state. I was not brought up like that. But I would encourage him to try and use words that encourage. You can't be the former head of state and you go and gather people and say, you leave that to the cowboys, the caponians, those guys that leave that language to those guys. Let's speak diplomatically. Let's challenge each other on policies. Let's sit down, address people and say, okay, this. Let's not use name calling. Because you as our fathers, if you start calling each other names, what will we do? What will our children do? What will our children do? Now I have a question. I'm going to end with this. I have a question. Does anyone believe that President Lungu would work with Freddie Membe or KBF unless the gathering is pep on one goal and one purpose, hatred for President Hakainde Hichilema? And anything that you start because of hatred does not stand. Does not stand. The gathering, the prayer meetings, the whatever meetings, whatever alliances, they start Uka today, Uka fails, they start Tonse today, and tomorrow they will start another alliance. It's all about him becoming president. And I don't see a situation where he goes and say, okay, I'm going to support Fred Membe. Let Fred Membe be no, he wants to be president. And because all of them, their intended purpose is there's two things, only to be president, to remove President Hakainde Hichilema, so that the past agenda, the rooting of the nation will continue. And you know what? Zambians are smart. Zambians are not those people we are gathering at the secretariat. We buy them beer and they shout, oh, yo. The Zambians are not like that. They'll sit down and think through. And they'll ask themselves, where are we going? What do we want? I personally believe that the worst thing Zambia can do today is to say President Lungu comes back into power. Believe me, the worst thing, cadres will be everywhere. Those people, you remember, they've had a break of about 3 years without stealing, without killing, without doing all sorts. They will go back into the market. There will be no peace. And believe me, all the donors that have started to support this government, that have started to support the policies that they're implementing, which will start to show results soon, they'll slowly start to come out, because nobody wants to fund the country so that people can steal and give their children. So I would just want to say, let them, when there is a gathering, whatever they gather for, let's address each other properly. Let's tell us, what do you want to do? What is your plan? What is your agenda? Open up and share with us to say, okay, this is your plan. Don't introduce, because if you as the former head of state start calling names, the president as lacuna, guess what? What will your followers do? And let me close on this one, that, a lot of people are saying that President Hakainde Hichilema shouldn't have suspended judges. He has a country to run. The president has a country to run. If a complaint is brought on his table, he will not fail to act just because people will complain. Let's say a person from Luapula province does something wrong, and the president, they complain to him and say, oh, if he suspends him, they're gonna say, oh, because he's Bemba, that's why they suspend him. You can't work like that. You can't. And if there is evidence that these people were favoring President Lungu, guess what? Let them go. Let them go. Let them go. If there is evidence, if after they check everything and the fingers point that they were not doing their duties according to what is said, let them go. It happens everywhere. I was reading somewhere, President Michael Sata at one time wanted to bring a judge from Malawi. So it's normal. It's normal. It's normal. Let them go. If anything, that if they find proof that there's not genuine, they were not doing things according to the laid down, policies or laid down law, policies and procedures, let them go. So that we start to change and build a system that works out in line with the law. Even if President Lungu was president today, and President Hakainde Hichilema was the first one to do, the first thing he would have done first, you saw what he said when he was in the Copper Belt, I think it's in the Copper, he would have arrested President Hakainde Hichilema. He would have arrested President Hakainde Hichilema. He said, the first thing I'll do, I'll come for you, I'll arrest you. He would have arrested him. The second thing he would have done, he would have fired almost everyone. President Hakainde Hichilema tried by all means to work with everyone, allowed people to operate until you proved that, you know what, you can't change. And if you prove that you can't change, you are here to sabotage the system. They can't sit down and say, oh, if we move him out, they're going to say they're touching them because of this. They should go. So allow the system to flow. So thank you very much. I know some people will say, oh, you are favoring this. It's my view. If you don't believe, if you don't agree with me, we can disagree. But the one thing I don't agree is disagreeing to calling each other names. We can disagree to agree. But thank you very much, and God bless Zambia.